Standard Galactic Date 071126-0987. HFUP, Department of Xeno Theological Affairs. Subject: to the Noble Director of the XTA on behalf of Lieutenant Friar Gregory. Greetings from the front lines, where we desire to change hearts and minds. At least that was what we were telling the sentient beings when making first contact. Unfortunately, Noble Director, we have encountered, how to put this delicately, difficulties while attempting to engage in our anticipated cultural exchange. Per protocol, we have been providing an HFUP religious database whenever making first contact, and for the most part, we have received similar databases in return. However, despite what seemed to be a solid start in establishing cultural relations, things quickly deteriorated in literally every case. And I mean literally. Noble Director, I have no clear explanation I can provide you, only incidents that have occurred. 3 months ago, we came into the Iota Quadrant. We made first contact with 4 sentient cultures, all with explosive consequences. The mystic Char Ashabal of the Azure system. They practice a belief system similar to our Buddhism. Honestly, it is eerie how similar they are. In fact, upon reviewing the database they gave us, we noticed that the symbols, iconography, and writings were the exact same, were it not translated into their language. When we did a cursory scan of their architecture, they seemed to be culturally cobbled? The initial theory was they had no set culture, just assimilated whatever seemed new and interesting. When we confronted them on it, we also learned they do not have the strongest constitutions. Near instant anxiety-induced heart attacks. Roughly 70% of the population in the city we made contact with. The information gained from our investigative autopsies revealed an overactive endocrine system with some of the smallest hearts we have ever encountered. After we coordinated with their local government to address the mass fatalities, we left the system with haste. The synthetic bipeds of the United Artificial Intelligences. When we attempted to have a discussion with them regarding their history, we seem to have caused, according to the error logs, a cascading logic failure. From what our technicians can deduce, there are unexplained gaps in their system logs to account for various historical moments labeled integral. Fortunately, they were able to quarantine 23% of their population, I suppose? In any case, we were asked to leave the system and never return. The Cult of the Shadowy Ones. Apparently, in our attempts to know more about their religious beliefs, we asked questions we shouldn't have. It would seem that the majority of the population were outfitted with miniature explosives should they be compromised. Our attempts to communicate with them further have been unsuccessful. We'll keep you posted. After that, Good Lord, Noble Director, I can't explain it. We have encountered 10 more sentient cultures so far, and in each instance it has ended in just so much death. I cannot even begin to explain it. I mean, we came across a species that touted they were the greatest philosophers in the quadrant. But it didn't matter what we showed them. I'm talking the gambit from Aquinas to Hawking, and their minds literally exploded from aneurysms, trying to understand the concepts. If it isn't some damn part of their biology, it's cults or jihads or some damn other thing. You have to have seen all the declarations of peace I have drafted just to prevent any potential reprisals. Not that there are any populations left to do so. Director, I am trying so hard, so damn hard to make this work. But everywhere we go, as soon as we say the littlest thing that could possibly be interpreted as a challenge to their beliefs, it all goes pear-shaped. We can keep trying, but I honestly think we are doing far more harm than any potential good here. I shall keep trying, as I have been ordered. but I am asking you to prayerfully consider a potential transfer of responsibility. End of transmission. Standard Galactic Date 07-1127-1653. HFUP Department of Military Application for New and Unusual Methods. Subject: Forward to the Noble Director of the XTA on behalf of Lieutenant Friar Gregory for the consideration of Admiral Morton per the Noble Director of the XTA. Addendum: Miraculous Development. We have finally encountered sentients who didn't immediately perish as soon as we brought up their religious beliefs. We'll keep you posted on our progress regarding cultural exchange. Lieutenant Friar Gregory. Post-addendum. Unforeseen frustration. The sentients we encountered, who all remain intact, by the way, have presented us with an unforeseen obstacle in regards to explaining our cultural beliefs and understanding theirs. We appear to have encountered a culture that is assured there are no higher powers in the universe. I do not mean to say they are atheists, for atheists could acknowledge a higher power could potentially exist and just ignore it. No, somehow these beings have no concept of meaningful disparity. They don't believe there is anything other than what they think can exist. I struggle to apply any sort of terminology to their culture at the moment, for I am unable to determine if this is a willful denial or some sort of ignorance. We'll keep you posted, Lieutenant Friar Gregory. Post addendum. Only in God can we place our faith. Noble Director, I once more submit my prayerfully considered request for a transfer of responsibility. It is painfully apparent now that these beings, although more sentient than any mere animal, are incapable of comprehending the concept of higher powers. I do not only refer to deities, but also natural forces. We have tried discussing gravity, and chemistry, air patterns, weather, all to no avail. They either nod their heads in a patronizing manner, or stare at us with glassy eyes. We try to challenge them to think about these concepts, but they can't think further than, let's say, a 2-year-old human could think about existence. I have included several logs regarding our interactions with these beings. Regarding gravity. There is a force that keeps everything tethered towards the ground, allowing us to move by pushing our bodies. Okay. Not sure I get how that's supposed to work, but if you say so. Regarding weather. You see these clouds? Those are actually made up of tiny pieces of water, and they move because it gets hotter and colder. Okay, but when I rub my hands together or blow, it doesn't make clouds. Yes, because of air temperature. But when I rub my hands together or blow, it doesn't make clouds. Regarding a higher power. I see you have made soup. Yeah, love soup. And without you, that soup would not have existed. I made the soup, yeah. So, higher powers are like that. They came first and made you, like you made the soup. Yeah, I made the soup. I know that. Now, is there anything you believe came before you, like you came before the soup? Oh, you mean like when 2 Turpics decide to do the baby dance? Crude, but that would be another example, yes. This Turpic loves the baby dance. Doesn't always make a baby, though. At least there is soup. I made some soup. Yes, you made the soup. We're getting off task here. What do you believe causes you to exist? To be. Well, it's like this. Turpic makes soup. Soup makes Turpic. Turpic makes more soup. I made soup. I made soup. Soup made me. I make soup. You get it? No, I do not. You should have some soup. I made it.